Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 776 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Takamalda, and joining me, of course, in pretend low Earth orbit, I have Chris DeBona.
Hi.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Gentlemen, how's our oxygen supplies?
Wait.
Making do.
Is there a problem with oxygen?
I don't know. We're just in pretend low Earth orbit, so I assume we have pretend atmospheric concerns.
Okay.
Trying to make that switch over to nitrogen's not working too well for me.
Now,
right.
you can breathe a lot of nitrogen.
Well,
Sure.
70%.
Just not all of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we've got a good story about marshmallows to start the day off. Yeah.
That sounds pretty exciting.
You should get the picture up, but watch out because this one's got background music, as I discovered.
Oh, really?
3 seconds before we started streaming. And say, hey, thanks Fox News Business. I love when I open a tab and it plays music. It's great. So what is this?
Load the tweet instead.
This is the Aldi is selling marshmallows, and
they're marshmallow bunnies. They're
bunnies.
like Peeps, man.
They're like Peeps.
But
they don't look like Peeps.
They leaned in on the PE part of.
Yeah. They're Peeps.
Yeah, they made rocket ships.
Rocket ships.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Rocket bunnies.
Well,
Hey, can I tell you guys a story about the bunnies on my property?
Sure.
we're not going to stop you.
I went to put out the recycling and take the trash cans to the curb the other day, and there's this area between the home office building ADU thing that I work in and the main house, and there's like a pathway between the two. And I come around the pathway to take the recycling out, and there was a bunny just like standing there,
Staring you down.
looking at me, because he knows I like him. I'm not a threat. And I'm like, I'm going to keep coming. I walked a little bit. He moved to the side a little bit. I walked a little bit. He moved a little bit to the side more. Went around to the side of the car. I dumped the stuff in the thing, and then he zipped through the path. And I'm like, the bunny and we have an understanding. And I felt that was a really good moment.
We feed a disturbing amount of leftover fruit and grains to the nearby wildlife of our house. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like this is ultimately going to be something where they're going to rise up and destroy me. But it's actually very funny because the local squirrel population likes to pick the food up and put it places. So the other day we found an apple sitting on top of our hose wheel. And then every now and then you'll look up and you'll see a graham cracker like in the crux of like a tree branch. As the squirrels just take the random, like anything that's stale or rotten gets tossed out. And the local wildlife eats it or hides it in trees. Anyway, these are marshmallows. They're shaped like wangs. Oops.
Yeah, dongs. I always think of Frank from It's Always Sunny whenever there's anything wang related, because he loves to say the word dong.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, Easter, has origins as a fertility festival, so maybe this is just a.
Sure.
This is what my wife said. I sent it to her. She's like, "Well, I mean, Easter was a fertility festival. This is completely appropriate."
Mm-hmm.
Why not have marshmallow tallywhackers, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Indeed.
Exactly.
We've got a story about a new superconductor.
We do.
Was this you, Chris? This seems like a Chris story.
I don't know. Was it me? I think this was me. Also, first of all, look at that thing. Look at that rock, man. I want a rock like that.
Yeah, me too.
Lutetium hydride?
That's
I'm gonna
pretty.
buy some of this.
I'm going to screenshot that and use that as our thumbnail today because it's a pretty rock.
Evidence of near ambient superconductivity in an N-doped lithium hydrides. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
When they say near ambient, what does that mean in 2023?
Usually that means between -30 and -70. But let's take a look. Here's the paper.
So cold that you couldn't touch it without hurting your flesh.
Well,
in the world
my fingers
of
get really
science.
cold at -30.
Yeah.
It's true.
You could touch it for a while.
I wouldn't want to be touching something that's -70 degrees. That's
-70 is really cold.
Right, but when they say near ambient, they mean -70 degrees. Which, I mean, I understand.
I'm finding out the temperature, yo.
I understand Kelvin on the Kelvin scale.
Oh, it's superconducting temperature of 294 Kelvin. And a pressure requirement of only 1 gigapascal. So that's pretty cool.
All right. So 294 Kelvin to
Celsius.
Fahrenheit, because I am an American. 69 degrees
Celsius.
That is almost room temperature.
Wow.
All right, that's cool.
L2 bar. And so you have to keep it at 10,000 atmospheres of pressure.
Oh,
I think.
I have teenagers. I'm always under that kind of pressure.
yeah, 9,869. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's actually.
I could do that.
Right.
You can keep something at pressure a lot easier than you can keep it at like negative, 70. That's kind of great.
10 kilobars.
How much pressure can you keep in a pressure cooker? I don't know the answer.
Good question. Highest pressure in a pressure washer cooker.
100.
12.5 psi.
I don't know how you convert psi to kilopascals. Is that what we're measuring in?
A gigapascals.
A gigapascal. That's a lot.
1 atmosphere is equal to 14 psi. So we need something that can get you to 14,000 psi. So how do you get to 14,000 psi? Okay, that's pretty cool.
Not with a pressure cooker.
Right. No.
Not with a pressure.
All right. It's 15,000.
I would imagine what you would want is basically to find a way of synthesizing this superconductor inside a rigid bar, inside a piece of metal, and then that's how you keep your pressure up.
So bottom
there's
of
all this water jet and pressure channels.
The bottom of the Mariana Trench is 1,000 bars of pressure. So this is 10 times more pressure than the deepest piece of the ocean.
Yeah, we're going to need to build something different then.
Yeah, that's
what I had in mind isn't going to work, guys.
But it's going to be room temperature so we can touch it.
So my question is, so you go to Harbor Freight, you pick up here's a 50-ton hydraulic shop press. What is 50 tons in bars? Here we go.
It's important. We're doing the science, guys. We're doing the science.
Yeah.
While Chris is doing the science, Rob, do you want to talk about something else?
Oh. So a 50-ton press can get to 9,000 psi. So if we get like a 100-ton press or a 75-ton press, we're superconducting, baby.
Except we'd have to enclose the entire thing, not just the area it's pushing on, right?
Don't be so negative.
We have to return, the conductive surface. So maybe just by pressing it together, maybe the surface in between the two pieces of the press, like you make your press out of the superconductive material, press it together, and then it's just that.
Also, if I remember right from physics, we'd have to probably cool it because all that pressure is going to make it hot, right?
Yes, it's going to make it hot.
And
we have to keep it to 70 degrees.
I want to touch it.
Yeah.
Want to touch it.
So I don't know. I'll work on it a little bit more.
All right.
So you want to touch it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we're all in.
Yeah. I want to eat the marshmallows. I want to touch the superconductors. Mm-hmm. And I don't want the new night scope autonomous outdoor security robots to murder me.
The thing I like best about the story
is a great story for this
is that they don't really get into so much what that thing does. I mean, they mention it, but the gist of the story was being amazed that the people of Philly did not destroy a robot that was in the parking lot.
And they have a cool nickname for it. It's a very Philly nickname because that hitchbot that was hitchhiking across the country
and got destroyed like after 5 minutes in America.
Yeah, no.
Philly.
Not after 5 minutes.
Philly.
In Philly. Philly basically took old hitchbot and they threw him in the creek, right? So they're calling this one Snitchbot. Philly represent, baby.
It's crazy to me how close to Daleks they actually got with that design.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't look like a Dalek, but anybody who's seen a Dalek has to be thinking that thing wants to exterminate you.
Yeah. I've been on record as my dislike for these robots. So, one of them slammed up against me at Stanford Mall, so I pushed back, and that sucker is heavy.
And it
So
shocked
I
you.
pushed
Like,
back, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm like, will you watch where you're fucking going? And this was like the week after it rolled over some kid, and knocked some kid down. And I'm like, robots, you suck. And they had that spot right across from the recycling. So every time we have a Nightscope story, I have to talk about this. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm being triggered, man.
Geeks in Space is just catharsis.
It is catharsis,
right? No, it's so when the robot uprising comes, it's gonna look like that. It seems kind of friendly. It's almost like a little bit of it's like Eva from Wall-E,
no,
and a Dalek had a baby.
It's got like the head of Max from the Black Hole.
The Black Hole, yeah.
He's got like angry eyes.
Angry Max.
He's got angry Max eyes.
A lot better than the dumb robot from Black Hole, which like had the crooked eyes, like the crazy robot. You know what I'm talking about?
I saw that robot. Yeah, old Bob. Old Bob was in a trailer, like, recently. I think it's like a Disney thing.
I just saw it recently because I watched something which was like 50 movies, like bad movies inspired by Star Wars, and that was on the list, of course. But also, I downloaded Turkish Star Wars, which I've never seen.
Oh,
I'm pretty excited to watch.
Awesome.
I'm pretty excited to watch Turkish Star Wars because they literally have it. The movie is green screened against scenes from Star Wars, except the aspect ratio is wrong. So like they're standing in front of the background of the Millennium Falcon, but squished.
Yep.
You couldn't even figure out the aspect ratio. That's glorious.
The ass and aspect.
That's right. We need Mario boots. Is that what we need? New fashion?
Yeah, I noticed this. I like shoes, but the idea that you could.
Oh, those are chunky.
They literally.
Oh, that's the CGI though from the movie. What? Oh no, they actually.
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious. I would like to see the dimensions.
All the people who like wearing lifts so they can seem taller.
Tom Cruise.
I think this would be perfect, for them.
See, we're all like 6 feet plus tall people. We don't like.
Well, I'm like 5'11 and a half, maybe 6. I mean, as I get older, I think I shrink.
Yeah, I'm probably shrinking too. Rob's a giant though.
Yeah,
no, I'm shrinking. I'm not 6'3" anymore.
How tall are you? Are you 6'2"?
Oh no, I'm not 6'4". I'm 6'3" now.
Yeah,
I've shrunken.
You're still quite a statuesque fella.
Yeah.
That's right.
I need these. I wonder
you're
what
my height goals.
Height goals.
Well, keep eating your vegetables, and maybe one day.
I had asparagus last night. So there you go.
Congratulations!
Right
I love asparagus.
I had a parsnip.
I don't like parsnip.
I wonder what the fit is like in these shoes.
Yeah, I do too. What I really want to see is like an X-ray, like how much of that is shoe and how much of that is just platform. Like I want to see. Well, that looks like a lot. Maybe. I'm not wearing those shoes.
So if I'm looking at it, they probably have you sitting to the right, and then it fades out to the left here.
I assume that leather strap across the top is the shoe.
Thing like this. What?
That leather band across the top. I assume that's basically the actual shoe, and then everything
below
I think that is probably
so
padding.
Your toe snugs in here.
Yeah.
And you're sort of shoved to the right and to the left of the shoe, and then you have basically a cement block to walk on.
No, they have to be like super springy because you have to use them to jump up and break blocks.
Oh, it's true. I forgot the pipe hopping.
Yeah,
and the coin. Does it come with a helmet for the coins?
No, he
invigorating
punches the blocks.
Do they come with invigorating mushrooms? That's what I really want to know.
Well, yeah.
Right.
So, let's see if there's a Mario gloves.
Chris,
okay.
I know
as
the
an
answer
Italian,
for Rob.
I find this racist.
That's offensive.
Yeah,
Chris, have you ever watched summoning salt videos? Do you know who I'm?
Summoning Salt.
Summoning Salt just released like an hour and a half long video on the 100%ing of Super Mario Brothers 3 speedruns.
Oh wow!
And this stuff is my jam.
Is this like Carl Jobst, but he only cares about Mario?
Carl Jobst mostly just cares about cheaters.
Yeah. Boy, have you been following the Tarkov thing?
I love everything about those stories.
Wow.
But Summoning Salt just does world records, and he tracks like the history of them. And what I love about it is for the old 8-bit games, he'll show you like, and then somebody discovered how you can do this clip, and you can squeeze through this wall, and then he tracks the world record changing, or the guy who's like, the random numbers of this, gives you 1/8 chance of this occurring, so there's a 2% chance of this, and so it took this guy 600 tries to get this combination, and like I love that stuff. But this video is actually, if you're interested in speedruns, this is a very enjoyable Mario related speedrun. They take it down from like a minute 30 or an hour 30 to like an hour 10. Over the court from between like 2006 and 2020.
That's pretty cool.
But I like that sort of thing. That's especially because with those 8-bit games, a lot of them, they go into the 8-bittiness of the tech, right? They'll talk they'll talk about, well, there's only 5 slots for sprites. So if a 6th sprite occurs on screen, then it despawns, and so you can do this. And I love that stuff because that's getting into the programming side of the 8-bit games, which makes me very happy. We've got mosquitoes. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about mosquitoes. There's something I have to bring up. Hold on. Oh my gosh, really? Design within reach? Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Okay. All right, there you go.
This is a Rob story?
Definitely a Rob story.
So yeah, you have to, if you're going to visit Louisiana, I suggest you pack up on DEET, because the mosquito clouds are so bad that they're killing livestock and wildlife.
That's amazing.
Serious business.
Yeah, that is a lot of freaking mosquitoes. So
That's
I know
terrifying.
There's a couple of runs. There's different herds of caribou that make different runs across, upper Canada and Alaska. And there's one group that the adults lose on average, I think it was 5 pints of blood on the journey from mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes hatch at the same time they happen to be going through. So it's a big deal, and it'll kill some from anemia. But I've never heard of, this happening after a hurricane before. But according to the story, it's fairly common down there after things get wiped out. Mosquitoes breed everywhere. They have giant clouds of them, and you have to watch your livestock because they will literally be killed by so many mosquitoes. It's horrifying.
It's like feral pigs and now mosquito swarms.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
farming's
what
hard.
is happening? Well, I mean, sure, farming's hard, but maybe we're cursed. Or maybe it's just Louisiana. Okay.
I don't know,
we're
man.
just cursed.
Mosquitoes, though, that's a doozy. I don't like that.
I don't know. I have to be honest with you, whenever I play like a post-apocalyptic video games, like when I think it was either Doom or Quake, in the single player campaign, and the mess of flies that would show up on top of bodies, it was always like the worst. I was like, it's so gross.
Like you're grossed out about those pixels?
Yeah, I'm so grossed out about these pixels on the deer and the rest.
What would be worse?
That's just rot and gross.
Ticks.
Oh, they're covered in like Lyme disease ticks.
Lice.
Ugh.
They're covered in them, right?
So many ticks.
Actually, it's herpes Lyme disease ticks because it's Louisiana, and it's got to be sexually transmitted disease.
And also 50% of them also have chlamydia. Koala chlamydia.
Oh, did deer have chlamydia? Is that their STI of choice?
Yeah, ever since the koalas got a hold of the deer.
Right.
Man, the hybrid koala deer. Deer koala? I don't know how you do that. I'd like to see.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not sure that
it would be great if they just looked like regular koala, but with like a huge rack.
Yeah, or like centaurs.
Oh,
just with a koala top, right?
Or they're just like regular deer, but with just a koala head.
So they try to climb with their little koala arms, but the deer body's so big they just can't.
Yeah. Sliding down.
So it's the world's saddest animal is the
Yeah. It's not good for nature.
And meanwhile, the koala is screaming out in koala, I just want you to love me. No. So I put so well, we can talk about Silicon Bacon a bit. I have more important
whatever.
things I want to talk about. So there was another because we have the next season of The Boys coming out in about a week or two, right? And so they're starting to put up some stuff on their channel again. And they put up a in memoriam Queen Maeve to remind you that she died last season.
Air quotes died.
But it's actually one of their weakest videos.
Oh.
It
really?
almost plays like a clip job, that they had like some Fiverr put together. So it's like not their best work, and I hope that doesn't bode poorly for the season. But
Yeah.
I'm sort of obsessed with audio and in-ear audio monitors and that kind of thing. And so I ordered the Critical, KZ Linsol dynamic driver with balance, blah blah blah, armatures and little things on them, and it came in this case.
Oh, this for the 7.
For the 7, and that wasn't the intention, I'm sure, but this is like better swag for the boys than like their own thing. So I just wanted to share that with you, Robert Roseboom, my fellow fan of 7 marketing. So yeah.
All right then.
I know it was a long way to get there, but I figured Rob would appreciate it.
It was
Rob
worth
would appreciate. Did you appreciate it, Rob, or did I waste my time?
I did appreciate it.
Okay. I mean,
look, I'm a little.
That's the logo.
I'm a little bit sad that you say this short isn't good because
I know, because they're so good.
They're so good at it.
Maybe it's that they're so good that when they're not 100%, I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't mean a flagging commitment by Amazon.
They've just set the bar too high.
Yeah. I mean, well, shouldn't we have high expectations?
For sure.
Isn't that a good thing?
For sure. So the only 2 things that I had left, I wanted to say I still haven't watched the season finale of Last of Us. I want to, but my wife, I think it took her 2 days to decide she doesn't want to watch it.
So, I did, and I didn't know it was the season finale until it became very apparent it was the season finale.
I didn't know that it was either until like the day after I started seeing headlines because I thought it was going to be a 10-episode season.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, but I haven't.
So we shouldn't talk about it.
Also, the Oscars, Everything Everywhere All at Once, cleaned up.
Oh, sure, the awards show.
And
they did clean up, boy.
Yeah, they won all the awards.
They sure
did. What were the controversies? Angela Bassett didn't stand up to applaud Jamie Lee Curtis. Is that what it was?
There's actually a tweet of everyone who didn't sufficiently act enthusiastic about losing.
Yeah.
that I watched, and I thought, well,
I'm so happy
what a weird thing, because some of them are just the guy, didn't start clapping as soon as everyone else,
right?
Like they're like, oh my god, what an ass!
Aren't you allowed to be a little bummed?
Yeah,
they fight in the alley,
right? But
didn't Angela Bassett win for her work as Tina Turner?
I don't know.
I remember that movie, but I don't remember who the.
She got a nomination, and she's only been nominated. That's right.
It was cool though.
Can I just say though, honestly, like Wakanda Forever wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
It was appropriate that they won for costumes. I thought their costumes.
You know what? Here's my controversial take. There was another one on the list, like Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. That should have won for costumes. It was an entire movie about the fashion industry. It should have won.
Oh, yeah.
They recreated all of these gowns from like the 50s, and it looked neat. I'm not like that's not my jam, but
did they have like?
I mean, whatever. It's a movie about a sweet little old lady living out her dream and going to Paris in the 50s, and it's charming.
I wonder if there is like a V&A thing in this. This is clearly something I have to watch. So
all right,
cool.
All right. But no, I think it's really cool that Everything Everywhere All at Once won a whole bunch. I remember watching it because it came out like earlier in the year, like last April, and it's really weird.
It's so deserved everything.
It's really weird to see a movie that comes out in April then show up almost a year later at the Oscars, because you're just like, you don't even consider it, because the Oscar movies generally come out in the last half of the year, usually in the fall.
You remember them, yeah.
Well, yeah, and also because most of them aren't like big money blockbusters, except for the Wakanda Forever, so they're not beholden to a holiday weekend or whatever for their the summer release schedules. Anyway, that's awesome. It makes me want to watch Swiss Army Man again, just to go back and see what those guys did before. I love that movie. I've seen it like 3 times, and it's worth watching again.
Wait, so the Swiss Army Man was done by
Daniels.
Miss Harris Goes to Paris. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I want to see that. I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's really
great.
Funny, so.
You're gonna love it. It's so messed up.
Yeah, I mean it's my kind of movie. I know. True.
It's very worth it.
Yeah, thanks for Miss Harris Goes to Paris. That'll be a big hit with Christine. You know what we watched? We watched Megan. It was great.
Megan's fun.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
It's fun.
It was good.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
The world needs more just fun monstery horror movies.
It's true.
After I took the 13-year-old to Cocaine Bear, his first rated R movie theater experience.
Wow.
So now I don't think he's quite ready for Megan. But he likes the horror comedy. Anything I can do horror comedy. We just showed him.
You show him it's a Zombieland. That was
he likes Zombieland, but we showed him a Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. And
boy, they almost had it in that movie.
That show is almost perfect and
almost good.
Almost
good.
But also like he really likes Happy Death Day and Freaky and
I haven't seen Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day is one of my all-time favorites. That's a Groundhog's Day movie. A time loop, but with a kind of like a sorority girl. Charming. The lead performance is fantastic. I think that movie is just one of my all-time favorites because it has all of my things. It has horror comedy. It has a time loop. It has a pretty girl, and it's funny.
All right, just try that out.
So the only other one that I had on the list was Silicon Valley, whatever. I didn't know if we wanted to follow up on the bank.
Long and short of it is we did get our money out for both the companies, so that's really, really good.
And our other friend got his payroll taken care of.
Yeah. So we had a friend who was using Rippler for payroll and PTO
not a sponsor. Services. # like and subscribe.
Well, apparently they did the right thing and they hustled and they managed to get everyone paid. Like I guess it was Monday, because the thing is, this thing hit on a Thursday, Friday. And so people who pay on the Fridays were in some scary times, right? I mean, it's really worrying when you cannot pay your bill, right? And then, but Rippler, they're like, no, listen, if you got any overdrafts because of this, we're going to cover it. And I'm like, wow, that was pretty good. And then
stand up.
It's pretty stand up. Yeah. And then I guess Signature Bank failed. So the way it started is Silvergate failed, which was a heavily crypto friendly bank. And then SVB went down, and then Signature went down. And Signature was another very crypto friendly bank.
There's another big one that went down right after that too.
That was Signature, I thought.
I thought there was one more, but
yeah. And so everyone's worried about, is it a bank run on regionals? What are we
systemic?
Do? And I hate to say it, I disagree with the guidance that you should continue to use regional banks for the personal touch and all that stuff. I'm like, I hate to say it, this for me was a big message from the very powerful banks in this country that if you use the small ones, maybe they just go away, so don't put anything there you're going to miss. And it's like, I get the message, I'm not big enough to swing my weight around with these guys. And the way, honestly, and everyone's like, SVB, they gave us such personal attention. And I'm like, I got the spam email Friday night. So yeah, this idea of personal attention when you're not a Peter Thiel is nonsense.
I mean, I guess the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that the FDIC took care of everybody up. So, I mean,
they did. Well, so I think what happened was they did the auction of the assets Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, we have enough assets to cover depositors.
Did you see that they sold the UK branch for
£1?
£1?
So,
wow.
So 6.7 billion. 6.7 billion.
That's a big Rolodex.
It was or 67 billion. Basically, it was proportionally. It was like 20% of the cash was available. The rest was invested in securities, but they had 20% more invested and in cash. than they owed in depositors. So I think HSBC picked them up and said, "Oh, we'll eat it. That's fine, and we'll end up getting all these assets, and it's fine." So they had the spare cash lying around to cover the spread of the people who were running on the bank, right? So they became HSBC customers in the UK. $1, basically for £1, they saw a 20% immediate a gain on paper. And by 20%, we're talking $20 to $30 billion because they were willing to take on the obligation. I'm like, whew. I mean, that was a good deal for HSBC.
Well, that's the thing, is that it's a big Rolodex. You know what I mean? No matter what.
Yeah, if you have the pile of cash to absorb it, you can take advantage of situations like this. And that was the thing that I sort of took away from all this. And I'm like, there are some people who are waiting for things like this to take advantage of them.
For sure.
And we're just going to be caught in the draft because we're too small.
Yeah.
Right. The companies that I ran at SVB. Now they're at Chase, because you know what? If Chase fails, the whole U.S. economy fails. And that's kind of the way we have to pin ourselves.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I mean,
the thing that I thought was weird is that when the mortgage crisis happened, that was because people were just kind of systemically stupid and evil. This, to me, at least to my limited understanding of finances, feels like they kind of were pretty much doing the right thing. They weren't betting money on the craps table. They were buying treasuries, and interest rates went up. Now, they should have been aware and been smarter and done stuff to manage that, but it's not like they were buying.
So they didn't do anything fundamentally wrong. They weren't blowing it on cocaine and
crypto
and prostitutes or crypto. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they weren't down in Miami buying Lambos and putting stickers on them, right?
Right.
They were what they didn't do right is they had a lot of obligations in 1.5% T-bills that didn't mature in time.
10 years.
And people started taking the money out late last year, and then last week, and they just they had a liquidity crisis.
Yep.
Okay.
Oddly enough, Bitcoin is up from like 22 to 26 over the course of all this. This podcast is not a financial podcast and does not offer financial advice.
Past performance is no indication of future value.
That's right. But, someday when my Bitcoin is worth the price of a new car.
You could buy an Impreza.
That's true.
There's some really neat Imprezas.
Like a nice used Subaru.
No, not used. You could buy it new. I mean, $26,000, that buys you a new.
No, I got a car.
Crosstrek, the CRV.
I bought my car. I don't want a CRV.
You could get the hybrid Crosstrek for that Bitcoin.
I got my car.
That's a great car.
I got a car already. So my next car will be the Bitcoin car.
Yeah.
Because Bitcoin,
and you can even get a license, BTC,
yeah.
or BTC.
I meant to take a picture of it. I followed a car that had a BTC referenced license plate the other day.
Was it Michigan or?
It was in Michigan. I don't even. It wasn't BT. It was BTC something. I don't remember what it was. And it was a Tesla.
There's a Tesla. Okay, so the thing about people like that is they always take a picture of it.
Yeah, right.
There's BTC 294.
I don't know. It was a joke. It was a jokey license plate. Do we have anything else we want to get off our chests? You said you had a hard stop around now, Chris.
Yeah, I do need to go. What was I going to say? I don't think I had anything else to say. I mean, yeah, SVB. It was a very stressful weekend. It was 5 days of hell. And
anybody who had their money tied up in that, I guess anybody who had more than 250K tied up in there, but I guess it wasn't regular people in SVP for the most. It's businesses.
Well, I mean, yeah.
That's
I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Who fucking wants to listen to me talk about it? The reality is all that matters is that Rob Roseboom, we're gonna be able to keep paying you, baby.
Yeah,
paychecks. Can I get a paycheck? I need a paycheck.
You need a paycheck?
I need a paycheck.
Let's talk about that.
All right. Then let's say goodbye to the internet, Chris DeBona.
Bye.
And goodbye to the internet from Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye, internet.
I was Rob Commander Taco Maldo. That was episode 776 of Geeks in Space. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.